Hey, Colton. Thank you for submitting your work. Let's go and take a look. Albert Einstein. Um, okay, let's go and take a look. I want to talk about typography first. Then we'll talk about execution. Then we'll talk about concept. So we take a look at the typography first. Now, we can see some issues with the typography in that none of these letters have been kerned. Nothing is kerned here. This looks like default, if not even hand rendered, but the kerning is so wide in all of these, and not only in his name, but also in the theoretical physicist type as well. So you want to get in there and kern those based on the rules of kerning that we spent the first 2 weeks of class learning. Okay, as far as the alignment goes, the concept of it, the technical execution of the layout itself, I don't recommend center alignment. And the reason being is it's just too safe. It's really a great idea for you to take chances while you're a student. So using center alignment does two things. Number one is it just doesn't activate negative space. You're not able to use negative space as a design element while you're centering type. And that is just due to the sheer nature of the fact that the negative space is symmetrical around any kind of centered type presentation. And there's no way that symmetry activates negative space. That's why I started saying this way back in week 2, and I've continued. Stay away from center aligned type while you're practicing typography. What you do in your design practice, that's up to you. But in terms of learning typography, I highly recommend that you just stay away from. You can always go back if you prefer center alignment, but it's a great practice to get used to using negative space as a design element as opposed to leftover space, right? My recommendation is to not to use center alignment and to use your have some sort of conceptual development on the placement and alignment of your type. Okay. As far as the type itself goes, there are some issues with this, and this is one of the reasons I opened this as a JPEG instead of opening it right through the browser, is because we've got this is all really badly pixelated. I'm not real sure how you composed this type, but it most certainly has been placed in this and not set in Illustrator. It seems as though this has been placed in another program and then, I'm sorry, designed in another program and then placed in this file. I don't recommend doing that. I recommend all of your execution right here in this file, and that will eliminate things like this is really problematic. All those little squares, and this type is really super pixelated. So this does not appear to have been set using vector type as we have been learning how to do using Illustrator. And I am guessing that you did use Illustrator for this. If you used InDesign, again, same thing. You can assemble your type right in the InDesign document as opposed to placing it. Now, another thing I want to mention is that this is placed, but it looks like it has been resized, and these letters are distorted. You can almost clearly see it, that they're longer and skinnier than what they should be. Most typefaces don't have this kind of like oval shaped closed counters for B's and the closed counter for the E and things like that. There's a few indications in here that this type has been vertically stretched without constraining the horizontal proportions. Again, that's problematic, and that was covered in our list of 18 typographic rules from back in what was that, week 3 or week 4? Anyway, so you want to look at that. You've got a couple of concepts going on. As far as anyway, as I was saying, there's a couple of concepts going on here. You've got this little illustration for the tittle on the eye, and then you've got this configuration here. Now, if I remember correctly, this kind of shape here had something to do with theoretical physics. I can't remember your description, but I almost certainly remember that the shape of that was vertical and not horizontal. So that would definitely be something that you might want to consider to reflect and use visual substitution for that configuration based on that image that you had used, or that sketch that you had used in last week. Okay, my last comment is that I think these are too big. You've got two things going on, two concepts. You've got this that was based on that photo, and then you have this, which is based on some sort of I'm not real sure what that is. It seems to be a nucleus or some kind of proton or atoms, which is antithetical to theoretical physics, right? Isn't theoretical physics the study of well, I'm not going to say, I will just say that you want to make sure that this illustration has to do with theoretical physics. To me, it's more of protons and electrons. So but I'm not positive. I could be wrong. I'm certainly no expert in physics or science for that matter. So I just want to make sure that there is a connecting correlation there. I think this illustration is a little large for the tittle. Actually, it's not. It's okay, but I wouldn't use it twice on both eyes. I wouldn't. I would just use it on one. Otherwise, it could be considered to be overkill. There's no contrast here. This portion of the poster is lacking contrast in a pretty overt manner because you've got black on blue. So there's just no contrast here. And we can see the problem with that is that this is a poster, so it's meant to be seen at a distance. So as we can see, looking at it at a distance, it's just really difficult to see the type. Okay, last but not least, you've got these big white slivers on the back, on the side of your poster. So that is, I'm not real sure what these white spots are on the sides and the bottom of the poster, but I would definitely address that issue. Whoops, didn't want to do that. There seems to be something right here. Let's zoom in. Some kind of mark right there. Can you see that? Right there. I'm not real sure exactly what that is, but it certainly looks like it doesn't belong. So I would take a closer look at that. Okay, so those are my recommendations. I know I just threw a lot at you, but it's okay. If you have any questions at all, please let me know, and I'll be glad to make the necessary clarifications. But good start, and let's just keep working, and don't get discouraged or frustrated, and please don't construe my comments as being discouraging. I'm trying to be more nurturing than anything else here. So if you have any questions at all, please let me know. All right, great. Thank you very much.